Everyone, thank you for joining our live webinar. Let's just wait for a couple of minutes for our participants to join. Hello everyone, thank you for finding the time to attend our live webinar, Wellness and Real Estate 2020, Fitness and Leisure in the Social Distancing Era, hosted by PropertyGuru Asia Real Estate Summit, the tech and thought leadership platform of PropertyGuru, Southeast Asia's leading property technology company, which also organizes the industry-leading Asia Property Award Series. Many of you might have been quarantined in your homes at some point over the last weeks and months. You might have been personally affected by the COVID-19 crisis, whether that's through you or someone you know contracting the disease or having your job affected by it. I hope you and your families are safe and healthy. Physical and mental health is a central theme of our webinar, and I'm joined today by experts in the field who will discuss the intersection of real estate, fitness, leisure, and wellness during the pandemic. Today, you will hear how physical activity, office ergonomics, and indoor air quality all contribute to greater well-being during the pandemic, and how hotel and wellness development has evolved during the crisis. A little bit about myself. So I'm going to be your moderator today. My name is Kristin Postens. I'm a partner in a strategic advisory company for hospitality and startups based in Singapore called Pullman Investment. Before that, I spent my entire career in hotel development in Europe and Asia. I'm also a Singapore-based judge for the PropertyGuru Asia Property Award, which is now in its 15th year. The Asia Property Award has expanded over the recent years to include niche segments within real estate, such as best wellness development, best lifestyle development, and special recognition for public facility that sometimes includes health and wellness facilities. Our discussion today is very timely, as a lot of these health centers and facilities have been directly impacted by the pandemic and subsequent lockdowns. And the requirement for people to work from home has made that we need to be creative when it comes to keeping up our physical and mental wellness. A few housekeeping rules about how we're going to do this today. We're going to start with a 5-minute presentation from each of the experts. And then after that, we're going to have a discussion. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to send them over via the chat function. And without more wait, let me introduce you to our experts. Jefferson Onghanseng, who is the CEO and founder of uHoo, which is an advanced indoor air quality monitor for homes, hotels, and offices. He's going to be speaking about the importance of indoor air quality. Then we have Michael Jones, CEO and founder of mobility-based practice, Pain-Free Me. We'll be talking about the necessity for ergonomics when working from home during the safe distancing periods. Then we have Richard Cohen, who is the CEO and founder of an award-winning fitness center, which many of you might recognize, The Lab in Bangkok. And last but not least, we have Chirt Quant, who is the CEO of Banyan Group in Thailand. Banyan Group is a developer of an integrated lifestyle community in Hua Hin that offers a mix of residential, leisure, and wellness facilities that also includes golf. So we will dive direct into it and start with Justin, who is going to speak to us about the air purifier. Over to you, Dustin.
All right, thank you, Christine. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Dustin, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of uHoo. And at uHoo, we brand ourselves as your first step to clean air. And I'll tell you more about that later in the presentation. Next slide, please. So poor indoor air quality is actually the world's largest environmental hazard. And this is primarily because when you don't know what you're breathing in, it would make you sick. Imagine if let's say there are dust particles all around your home or in your office, you're just breathing it in, but you don't know. And suddenly when you get home or while you're working, you get sick, you get your allergies, you get an asthma attack, and it's all because you don't know what's going on. And in relation to this, there has been a lot of science that has proven that poor indoor air quality is actually enhancing the spread and the survival of COVID-19. So is there a way for us to address air quality and minimize the risk of COVID-19? And that's what we will be exploring in this presentation. So next slide, please. And what we do is we help you measure and understand the quality of air that you breathe so you know exactly how you can improve it. We provide you a device. It looks like this. All you have to do is to plug it in for power, connect it to the Wi-Fi network, and you get all the data on the mobile app. You get alerts, you get insights, you understand basically what you can do because we provide you with recommendations as well on how to improve your air. And we can also integrate with the different devices that you have at home, like an air purifier, an aircon, a dehumidifier, your lights, and also automate an entire building if you want to make your workplace healthier. And next slide, please. And what we want to talk about today is coronavirus. So as you can see from this chart, you can see how it differs in terms of size. PM10 would be the larger dust particles that we can see using our naked eye. And when we compare it to the PM2.5 particles, this is what we usually experience when there's forest fire burning. There's haze. That's usually what's present in the air. So you don't really see the dust particles that clearly, but you can feel it in there. And the coronavirus is even smaller than that. So it's just 0.1 micrometer. And that's like, yeah, basically you can't see it. And coronavirus survives and becomes transmitted based on the quality of air that you breathe. And in order to help the world fight COVID-19, what we did was we developed the uHoo virus index. Next slide, please. And then the uHoo virus index is the world's first real-time assessment of virus survival and airborne transmission risk using air quality data. So science has proven that coronavirus survives in a specific environment and they get transmitted from one person to another in a different environment. So what we did was, since we are able to measure and quantify the environment, you can then give a risk assessment on how well COVID-19 can survive and be transmitted. So all you have to do is to modify or tweak your environment so that it's not suitable for COVID-19 to survive. That way you can deactivate it and lower the risk of you contracting or it spreading within your home or within your workplace. Next slide, please. And when we look at the thresholds, the way we develop this, we're going to go into a bit more technical detail here because, yeah, it's generally well known already what coronavirus is. So we'll look at how the relationship is like. So in terms of safety thresholds, these are the 5 parameters that we look at and what we measure. These 5 parameters have a clear effect on the coronavirus, as proven by different research conducted by the CDC, by WHO, and different universities and different medical journals. Next slide, please. And from the research that has been shown, if your environment stays at, let's say, a relative humidity of 20% and temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, the coronavirus from 100%, it takes 14 days for 90% of the virus to be deactivated. Whereas if you can optimize your air quality to keep your humidity at approximately 50% and temperature at 20 degrees Celsius, you can reduce 99.9% of the virus within just 36 hours. So by doing that, you're actually completely reducing the risk. We're not saying that you're eliminating the virus, but the fact that you're reducing the risk means that the spread and transmission of the virus also goes down. And when we look at the next slide, we're focused on the factor of how nitrogen dioxide affects mortality with regards to coronavirus. So this research was done by a university in Israel, where they conducted a study across the regions in Italy and Spain just this April of this year. And they found out that in the locations where nitrogen dioxide was higher, 83% of the deaths of coronavirus was attributed to these locations. So what this says is when you're breathing in more nitrogen dioxide, you're more susceptible as well to the coronavirus. So these are just 3 of the parameters that we're looking at. There's still the PM2.5 and the carbon dioxide parameters. So next slide, please. And what we've done is, in order to provide more information to the public, we've written a 20-page white paper combining all the research that has been conducted across the world and made it easier to understand. not so technical. We made it very layman. So you can immediately understand how to assess your air quality and what you can do to improve it and reduce COVID-19 risk. And yeah, next slide, please. And for us, the way we view the market is uHoo is for everybody, because everybody breathes. It's always about knowing, because you can only manage what you can measure. When you take an action, you need to know whether it is effective or not, and it goes to the data. And before you can actually do something meaningful, you also need to know what's going on first. And so the way we help our clients and customers is through different sectors. We have our residential customers, where their purpose is really to create a healthier home, healthier families. They want to reduce their medical costs by reducing instances of sickness. We work with businesses, such as commercial real estate properties, gyms, hospitals, hotels, warehouses. They basically utilize our solution to make sure that the workplace is healthy and safe, especially right now when people are starting to go back to work. And they also utilize the data as branding for their employees and also for their customers, especially for restaurants and hotels. And lastly, we also work with government, wherein they can utilize the data to create better policies for health and well-being for the citizens in their city. Next slide, please. And that comes to the end of our presentation. So for us as a company and as a founder, our real mission is really to make the world healthier, one breath at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I think in Asia, air quality is a central theme, but I think the COVID-19 crisis has really brought the attention to air quality as a factor in transmission of viruses, which was not so much the focus before. Thank you very much. Now we will go on to the next participant, which is who is Michael Jones from Pain Free Me. Take it away, Michael.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Michael Jones. I'm a licensed physical therapist, and most importantly, I'm a health coach and educator. And I actually run a posture-based practice here in Bangkok, Thailand. So, it's pretty good for me to come talk to you today about, how to make your, to make your workplace and home a little bit more effective for you. So let's go ahead and just go ahead into the next slide. I know I had a question about how was it transitioning to, my physical therapy practice, which is, very much hands-on, literally, to going to online. With me, I work a little bit differently than most therapists. I work with one of the largest organs in the body. It's called the fascia system. And the fascia is basically connective tissue that wraps up and around through your organs. And basically it's like the net that holds, your bones, your ligaments, your joints together. So I was able to effectively transition to an online setting, mostly coaching people of how to, treat their bodies and take care of them, using some self-care tools that I actually use in my practice. So it was more importantly just, making my clients, the customers actually do the work. I'm sitting there right in front of them, just making sure that they're actually doing the work correctly. So what I'm going to do, if we can go to the next slide, these are some of the tools that I use with my clients online and actually in person to address fascia. Because again, a little bit more information about fascia. Most muscular pain, about 80% of muscular pain is actually misdiagnosed. It's actually fascial pain. So the way to kind of get your body pain-free and increase your mobility is to address the fascia. And you can do that by using a foam roller, which we've probably seen in the gym many times before. And as my client here is using on his hips. And we can use mobility balls, which is, like a lacrosse ball. That's really good for targeting trigger point areas. And also corrective exercises. And corrective exercises are very important for, improving posture. And that's what many people, I call my desk-bound warriors, deal with every day is, the poor posture. So by utilizing these three methods in an online system, made it pretty easy for transition to working with people online. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And there are some things that, this COVID-19, this epidemic has really placed upon us mentally and physically, from self-isolation and also working from home. And I have to say, one of the biggest things that I've noticed with, even myself and the people that I've worked with is being able to switch off from work. we thinking we're working from home, so we're nice and relaxed, we can just keep going. And actually had some studies that were released recently saying people are actually working more at home than they did actually at work, because again, they don't know how to turn it off. And for that, I always tell people, you have to have your designated area. We don't have our offices anymore. Our office has become our like dining room table. So, so if your dining room table is your office, you have to learn to like, okay, at 6 o'clock, shut it off, move all your stuff away. I am off of work. Now let me get back to my own personal life. And that helps you to create kind of like that work-life balance. So you're not exactly, pushing yourself too hard and putting more stress on your body as well. And another thing that's been that people are really dealing with now is insomnia, because again, they're constantly online. Facebook is kind of our outlet. We can't see people, so we're constantly online, and all the sensors and triggers and flashes and videos, it's keeping us up later at night, and we're working harder. So again, we're getting less sleep, and that affects our productivity. So those are the two things that I found, and also in the studies that I've done, from dealing with COVID-19, people are not be able to switch off from work, and also again, it's really affecting their sleeping habits. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is going to be really important. It's also about, it's all about setting up your home office. I've had a lot of my clients, send me little snapshots of, how they're actually, working from home. And it's not like this, as we see in this picture. We're working from, like I said, the dining room table, we're sitting on the couch, our necks are slumped over the computer, the forward rolled shoulders, our low back is killing us. Because again, we're not practicing proper ergonomics. And I would actually like to point out, when it comes to that, two important things is, as you see here in the slide, you see how the eye levels with the top of the monitor. That is very important to do, because once we start, messing with that eye level, we start looking down, 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 down. And what happens? The shoulders start rolling forward and the low back starts hurting, okay? And we start getting that wonderful little hunchback posture that, none of us want. So it's very important that you really keep your eye level, let's say, at the top of the monitor, top of your laptop. And also I've seen online, you can buy like the laptop stands actually that you can use on top of your desk or dining room table to kind of help, again, with that eye line. So that's very important. So you can get those online. But most importantly, let's say, keep those eyes at the top of your computer. And another thing, as we see, feet flat on the floor. This is very important because, I was almost doing this myself during the webinar. I had my feet tucked under, under the chair, and my legs crossed at my ankle. By doing this, actually shuts off pretty much the circulation going to the lower extremities, going to your legs. And again, this is when the muscle gets weak, it becomes inflamed because it's not getting any circulation. So I really want you guys to really kind of focus on keeping the feet flat on the floor and keeping everything eye level. And another quick tip, shoulders down. Shoulders are not supposed to be up here. They're supposed to be down here. Okay, so just always remember to kind of, relax the shoulders a bit. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to do. So sometimes if we forget to do these things, so I tell people maybe set your smartphone, for every hour, have it go off so you can just kind of do a self check-in, dropping the shoulders, making sure my feet are flat on the ground, making sure I'm not looking down, at the computer. So these are some really quick tips to really help you setting up your home office and to have you working pain-free. So we can go ahead to the next slide. All right, and this is a really great stretch. Your hips are a very important muscle group. A lot of our force comes from our hips. And also a lot of people don't know, if they're suffering from like low back pain and knee pain, it really correlates to your hips. So this is a stretch that I constantly tell people to do throughout your day. Very simple to do. Basically, you're just going to scoot to the front of your chair. You're just going to go ahead and going to bend over. Again, we don't have to go bend over touching our toes. We might not have that mobility in our hips yet. So just coming forward just a little bit to when you feel the muscle engage, and then and enjoy the stretch. Just sit there for maybe 30 seconds. And if you feel like you want to go a little bit deeper, just go just a little bit more, and just keep the body moving and keep the stretch going. We always want to keep it at, I always tell people, keep it at like it hurts so good. You don't want to go too much further where you're causing, intense pain. Kind of want to keep it at like, okay, this feels really good to my body right now. I enjoy the stretch. So you can do that up to 30 seconds to 1 minute, every hour or few hours, always helping to keep those hips open. And again, doing so will help you decrease your risk of knee and low back pain. All right, go to the next slide. All right, so I just want to give you like it's a quick rundown of the ergonomics in your home office. And also I want to thank PropertyGuru Asia for inviting me out to talk to you about this. I hope you were able to get some really good tidbits of information in regards to that. If you guys want, please feel free to go over to Instagram and follow me at Mike Jones Today. I'm constantly putting daily posture busting tips and lifestyle information on there for you. So, to help you, stay healthy and most importantly, take care of your bodies. Because, we only got one, if we don't take care of it, where else are we going to live? Again, I want to say thank you, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's true that when I was working in an office, I rarely thought about the ergonomics of my workplace.
Mm-hmm.
But working from home, you realize that you actually, since you have less social interaction, you tend to sit still the whole day. And yeah. There is no coffee machine, there's no gossip, there's no going around and meeting with colleagues. So this is definitely something that from personal experience, you need to keep in mind. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Over to Richard Cohen. We will keep it physical. So over to Richard Cohen of the lab. I think you're on mute, Richard.
Hello, can you hear me okay? Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Mike. I'm now standing up a lot straighter in my chair, so thank you very much for that help. My name is Richard Cohen. I'm a personal fitness trainer and CEO and founder of The Lab in Bangkok. I've been fortunate to live and work here in Thailand for close to 16 years now in the fitness industry. The Lab Studio was founded 8 years ago. We currently have 2 locations in Bangkok. We specialize in strength and conditioning for individuals and groups. We're dedicated, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here with all of you today. And thank you to the PropertyGuru Asia for inviting us down. Let's go ahead and move to the first slide. I'll be sharing with you today some of the insights and perspectives from fitness and health centers during the pandemic. So go to the next slide, please. So who can fill me a little bit with this slide in 2020 here? Raise your hands. Yes, no matter where we are in this world, what we were doing, we all feel like we got a little bit sucker punched in the face. 2020 hit us hard. So we had travel plans, boom, family engagements, boom, career development, business growth opportunities, boom, 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 boom. We've all taken a big hit this year. We've all had to sort of adapt and change. It's been very similar to us in the fitness industry here in Bangkok. Next slide, please. So fitness and health centers during a pandemic. As I mentioned, we are very adaptive creatures, and health facilities, much like other facilities, have had to make COVID preventative measures. And one of the most important things for us was obviously with the fitness facility, people are sweating and people are moving and generally leaving sweat on the ground, that we wanted to make our customers and also our staff feel safe and secure during the training. So along with the government guidelines, we had to put quite strict training measures in place in order to get that result for our customers. Next slide, please. Some of the guidelines and restrictions in place were included lots of sanitization, temperature checks, frequent cleaning within the studio, obviously wearing face masks and face shields when we're training. And imagine how difficult that is when you're trying to, I'm sure some of you have tried to exercise or go out for a run or anything with a mask on. It can be quite challenging. Next slide, please. We also we had to give customers, our customers appropriate time to freeze their packages and giving them, ensuring that ensuring and also encouraging that if they had been to any high-risk countries to not come into the gym, to stay at home, practice self-isolation policies in order to protect themselves and protect everybody else in the gym. Next slide, please. So as you can imagine, with so many restrictions and so many potential risks, what we found is just even whilst applying these COVID risk measurements practices, people were a little bit more, a little bit less keen on coming to the gym. I saw quite a lot of the traffic reduce within the fitness centers, and trainers started to feel a little bit more on edge. And as cases were rising in Thailand and around the world, people started to think a little bit more about the risk that they want to put themselves into by going to facilities that could potentially put themselves and their families at risk. So within 24 hours of taking time to formulate this plan, next slide, please, we were closed. And so within 24 hours, all fitness centers were instructed to close the doors indefinitely by government decree. We were informed to go home. We were informed to tell our staff to go home, not to come into work tomorrow. Communicate to all our clients that their memberships would be on freeze, and that we'd be taking all our communication online for the foreseeable future with a stay-at-home principle. Next slide, please. I was actually incredibly thankful and surprised that we have two branches in Bangkok. One of which is privately owned, one of which is operated by a larger operator. And thankfully, both of those were extremely empathetic with the particular situation that we were facing. And they had already. I was quite happy to find out that they were very productive and already speaking to us about rent relief opportunities and also reductions in rent for when we do open it in the future once the pandemic's passed. So I'm happy to say, thankful to say, both of our branches have been extremely flexible in offering rent relief. I'm also in regular contact with other gyms in Bangkok, businesses that have been given anywhere between 50 to 100% rent reduction during the lockdown. I think all of us working together helps us achieve more success as a whole. And like I mentioned, further reductions were available for renters when the studio doors were allowed to open again. Next slide, please. So in 2019, now we're closed and we've moved ourselves online. In 2019, it was reported that the fitness technology was becoming the largest fitness trend in the whole industry. And the industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, which definitely saw massive growth in the first 2 quarters of this year, in 2020. But since lockdown, we've all been forced to work at home. We've had to endure these regulations and think more creatively and start strategizing how we can do online live group training and personal training sessions. As you can see on some of these slides, we've got home gym equipment. So home gym equipment boomed skyrocketed by 307% during the closures of fitness centers from research and markets. A couple of big Instagram and YouTube and Instagram sort of influencers, the Joe Wicks here, the body coach, grew by 6.9 million views within 4 months doing with I think it was PE with Joe, and then other Instagram influencers grew by 1.5. Some of these influencers have huge subscriptions and now getting a lot more traffic due to people wanting to work out at home. So more adults watching online fitness videos than ever before. There's abundance of personal training apps available so that trainers can continue working with their clients online. Next slide, please. So at the lab, I was pretty happy with what we did with the lab. We managed to pivot at all of our classes and services online. We ended up doing over 300 hours of online group training, hours of online group classes for more than 200 people in 7 different countries. I mean, that wasn't an overnight success. We had lots of challenges that we had to face at the beginning. There are thousands of people and companies that are offering online training and doing a fantastic job over it. They've been doing it for years. They've experienced the process, the technology, the global market reach, and advertised spends that they've been applying to this business for years that we are trying to get our feet wet within 24 to 48 hours. challenge was, how do we stay connected with our clients during a pandemic? How do we keep our trainers and staff engaged, provide financial support during the lockdown? We're a consulting firm at the end of the day, so how can we solve problems that clients are facing, the community is facing, so they feel more connected, safe and secure, and they can maintain their health and fitness levels. Clients have had salary reductions or forced unpaid leaves. How do we charge for this service? So we created a lab online community group, very simple, straight through Facebook. We provided, similar like Michael's mentioned, Zoom coaching, Zoom personal training. We provide online hybrid training programs where there's a mixture of in face-to-face training and also empowering clients to train by themselves. And we also work with our online fitness community. We did a pay what you think it's worth donation-based system. So if you enjoy the workouts, enjoy the online workouts, and you got value from those, you pay whatever you think it was worth. Next slide, please. We also managed to run a women's only wellness program, which had 12 women on it from 5 countries from around the world. And we had some cracking results with that online program. Next slide, please. So, and now coming back into reopening phase, we've been open for 2 months now. There's of course, there's big health and safety measures that are put in place. Everything from contact tracing, making sure that everyone scans a QR code with Tai Chi Nat, deep cleaning every 2 hours, no sharing of equipment, maintaining social distances 2 meters apart. Everyone has temperature checks. All the trainers are wearing masks when they train. We're sanitizing. No physical contact as well. Next slide, please. The coming out of what does the future hold? Well, now that we are location dependent, I got asked this question about, does the fact that we are location dependent, does that mean the end of fitness facilities? Well, I think what we can all come to agreement is that now we are location dependent, wherever we are in the world for the next 12 to 18 months anyway. Neither money nor power can change that. So what does this mean for the fitness industry? When the lockdown occurred, we were all stuck at home and needed to get creative with our workout routines. Lucky thing that the fitness industry was already streets ahead. Even before COVID, we had apps that create workout routines, wearable fitness tracking technology and data collection, as well as VR indoor group cycling and online personal training programs. If you look at look at today, we have Peloton, which is a bona fide success. The company sells $2,245 for a piece of Peloton equipment, and the company is valued at $4 billion. There's another company, Mirror, which sells $1,500 full-length mirrors, which double as interactive home gyms, and they're closing on a first round of funding for $36 million. Some of the science that is out there is unbelievable for AI. AI program technology within the home for training. There's even a digital kettlebell that will change, which I find fascinating, which will change the weights when you reset the kettlebell on the stand. It's unreal some of the science that's heading out there, and it's heading straight to us. Next slide, please. So whilst myself and the team at the lab accept and embrace modern times and technology, we still believe in the need for human connection. And one of the things you'll never be able to reproduce at home or on screen is the in-person experience and energy you get when you're working out in the same space as others, feeding off positive energy and working with your fellow man or woman in a social setting. Human beings are naturally 5 sensory beings. One of those senses is kinesthetic or physical touch. Something like a warm handshake, high five, pat on the back has been proven to enhance our overall well-being. We actually have sensors in our palms that allow for release of oxytocin when we connect with each other. And these are very important for help building trust, help creating more wellness, help feeling safe and secure. Increase trust between individuals, for example, a firm handshake, building stronger team dynamics. Think about sports teams, when we're working and training towards a goal, and building a sense of togetherness, anchoring a strong move with a good job, with a fist bump or a high five, pat on the back, foster strong togetherness between teams and communities. Greater learning engagement, when a teacher touches a student platonically, encourages students to speak up in class and anchors a positive state for a student to have a greater confidence in themselves. So we can see that now with COVID, the fitness industry is seeing massive growth through online usage, but with human beings isolated for so long, we are also seeing a return of members to fitness facilities again. I believe there's an opportunity and challenge to be solved through both options. While some people excel and are passionate about working online, others are excited about meeting their friends, receiving a pat on the back and a high five, words of encouragement, which will never be quite the same as when you're with other people. And at the end of the day, Simon Sinek says here, humans are social animals, and we are at our best when we get to do things with others who appreciate and enjoy what we do. It's what keeps us human. We'll just go ahead to the next slide, and I'll be saying thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate the time. Thank you to PropertyGuru for having me online here. We are celebrating our 8th anniversary at the lab, and we do have some special promotionary offers. So if anyone's in Bangkok, or even no matter where you are in the world, you want to get in touch, if you want to get work on your strength and your fitness, be in contact with us here. Thanks for listening, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Richard. Personally, I thought it was very reassuring that landlords have actually been accommodating when it comes to rents, because that's obviously a very high cost portion for a gym. And that is the same for hotels, which brings us to the next participant, Tjeerd Quant from Banyan Group.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kristen. Thank you, and welcome to all the participants. I'm CEO of the Banyan Group in Thailand, and like Kristen already mentioned in her introduction, Banyan is an integrated active lifestyle community project offering a mix of residential, hospitality, leisure, health, and wellness facilities and services. Can you go to the next slide, please? And one more. So the project is based on the principles of a healthy, active lifestyle. Next slide, please. And the project's current and future facilities, services, and design and layout will contribute to achieve the optimum wellness of our residents, members, visitors, and of course, our Banyan team. And as you can see, we have in the slide, we have the Banyan Village, which are 86 villas, smaller villas. We have the residence, where you can build your customized villa, and we have the Banyan Golf Course. In addition, we have all kinds of facilities, which I will elaborate a little bit more on. Please, the next slide. In our, what we call the circle of well-being, we identified 5 key areas to focus on, which are contributing to an overall physical, mental, and social well-being. It's a holistic approach. And as you can see, what is important for wellness is being active, being social, green, which not only means, let's say, green buildings, but also living in nature or close to nature, wellness, and health. And if you go to the next slide, you can see how we implemented that so far, which, for example, the Be Well Medical Center. There we have the medical center, which is opened 6 months ago at Banyan, late 2019, offering as a first general practitioners center in Thailand, offering primary care, but also things like nutritional advice, physiotherapy, and they started recently also with yoga and meditation. As being active, we offer the Banyan Golf Course. However, we have a privilege program where we work with local partners, offering fitness, tennis, all kinds of activities close by the Banyan. Important part is social well-being, and Banyan is not only about golf and living, it's also about social activities. We do that at a golf course, but also with our privileged partners, we organize a lot of activities and events for our residents and visitors. Living in nature is an important part of wellness, and especially what I mentioned, living in a natural environment, green buildings, healthy environment, and listening to the other participants, my colleagues in the seminar, webinar, you know, you can see about a healthy environment to work, an environment to breathe, and to be fit, especially in a period like this with COVID-19. Part of the wellness, we have our own spa and wellness. We, like I mentioned, we offer through Be Well Yoga, and this is an increasing important part of the overall well-being of people in general and a healthy and active lifestyle. Please go to the next slide. Well, important in this period of time is that when the COVID pandemic started and it became really a big issue in March, we immediately started to work on the safety and well-being of our residents, our members, our visitors, and of course our own team. So we are lucky to have Be Well Medical Center on site. So we developed with them immediately protocols, how to keep our people related to Banyan and visitors safe. So we developed these protocols not only on paper, written, but also in visualizations, which you can see here. And these have become a standard here in Hua Hin, especially in the golf world, and the local golf, regional golf association chose our protocols as the standards for the business here in the region. Together with these protocols and the SHA certificate that we obtained from the government, which ensures a healthy and safe environment, we can give our visitors and residents a comfortable feeling about living, working, and visiting Banyan. Next slide, please. So, important is also how to communicate. And one of the things that what we believe is not only offering protocols, but also offering a total environment where also visitors feel that they are safe. And especially now that most of our business, if all of our business is from domestic market, meaning Thai and expats living in Thailand, we switched basically from a majority of international clients to a domestic market. We have experienced from them that important is, of course, health and safety, but also effectively offering something which not only in word, but also in practice is healthy and safe. And what they really appreciate is social distancing. And we call it at Banyan natural social distancing because of the way the whole project has been developed, designed, and offers space and safety. At the same time, as you can imagine, golf was one of the first sports that people could start playing again after the lockdown was eased. And golf is a non-contact sport, it's outdoor, is in the middle of nature. So it has been a very attractive way for people out of lockdown to spend their time, socialize again. And we have seen a lot of people from Bangkok coming to Hua Hin for that. And last but not least, the on-site presence and expertise of the Be Well Medical Center, the Be Well team, is a blessing for us and very important for our customers. So although the conditions are tough, we have lost all the international market, as of course all our colleagues in this business, we can be relatively lucky in being in Hua Hin, because I was recently on certain islands like Koh Samui or Phuket. It's very quiet, but Hua Hin is a popular weekend destination for people from Bangkok. So we are blessed with this huge market and make the best out of it. Therefore, I would like to thank you for the time to present Banyan, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Chert. I was actually something that I was thinking of, because after the last crisis, there were two asset classes, if you can call it such, that suffered significantly, and that was golf and second homes. So it's early days, but do you feel that that COVID will give an unexpected boost to these sectors? You've already kind of answered it for golf, because golf was one of the first sports we could play. But are you seeing increased demands for second homes or vacation homes?
Yes, well, as I said, we had to switch from mainly international visitors and at the golf course, but also people who buy houses, villas with us, to the domestic market. And Like I said, Hua Hin is a very popular destination for, at the moment, for people from Bangkok, because you can drive here within 2.5 hours. So the domestic market, we can mostly see the increasing interest in having a house in Hua Hin. People in general, and I also read recently reports also from other cities like London and European cities, that people want to escape the crowded cities for many reasons. First of all, it's more psychologically, I think, but also to get back to nature with more social distancing opportunities. And Hua Hin is offering that. You know, people can leave the metropole Bangkok and go to Hua Hin to enjoy golf, enjoy other activities, but also to spend their time in their second home in nature and in a more relaxed environment. So we can see that from Bangkok for sure. We had a meeting with the best local real estate agents. They all see this trend. And we have to wait and see what happens with international potential clients. But the way Thailand has been able to handle the COVID makes it, for many people, to a very safe environment, a safe haven to travel to in the future, and possibly and hopefully also to buy their second home.
Thank you. There is a question here from the audience for Dustin. So we are obviously all very familiar with air purifier, which are a common household good in this region. What other ways can people use to minimize toxic air aside from getting an air purifier?
Yes, so I think I have to clarify what an air purifier does first. So our product can measure 9 air quality parameters, ranging from dust particles, chemicals, nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, and whatnot. So what an air purifier does is it can only fix 2 of the parameters at most. So it doesn't really fix the entirety of your air. It can only clean dust particles and VOCs, or chemicals. So for you to address the other aspects, you would need to understand what's going on. And let's say, for example, you can reduce chemical levels or carbon monoxide while you're cooking by making sure your range hood is on, or you have sufficient ventilation. If you want to minimize, let's say, carbon dioxide poisoning or breathing in stale air within your home, you have to make sure you have proper ventilation. Ventilation comes from adjusting your exhaust, opening your windows, or making sure you have proper air exchange inside your home. Other aspects would be to prevent mold, and that's usually caused by high humidity. So the way to reduce humidity would be either to cool down your space by switching on your air conditioner, or having a dehumidifier to bring down humidity. So there are a lot of different ways for you to address this. Yeah, so, and there's no one size fits all. It depends on what the issue is. Once you've identified it, then you can find ways to address it.
Yeah. If you want to fix it, that has to be measured. That's the first step.
Yes, exactly.
Next question for Mike. So for wellness services that rely on human touch, such as physiotherapy, can you tell us a little bit about the feedback from your clients during the lockdown time? I mean, how efficient was it to provide physiotherapy over the internet?
It was definitely needed, because the amount of stress that was put on everyone, because of the epidemic, and many people weren't, they were taken out of their everyday routines. There was no more, going to the gym, coming in for their physical therapy appointments, or whatever that people are doing to stay healthy and active. So I definitely saw, kind of a more of a influx of people coming in for the online services, just saying like, hey, Mike, I'm falling apart. I need to do something about this. Like I said, introducing them to more, working with soft tissue and just educating them on more how to take care of themselves, on a daily, really, like I said, I really saw the difference in the clients and just the whole learning aspect of them taking care of themselves. So it was definitely needed around that time, because we were all stressed out and pulling our hair out just to figure out, how we're going to pay our rent or if we're going to have a job. So it was definitely needed during that time.
Yeah, this notion of services that are inherently physical moving online is very central to this pandemic times. And one thing that Richard touched upon is the emergence of AI and streaming equipment that people have in their homes so that they can do their gym. So, I mean, home gym equipment is not something new. I mean, my parents had a treadmill that was used as a clothes stand. So, I mean, they had it there, but it was never used. So so this is a question for you and Richard. What makes you think, or do you think that this time it's different, that now there's a shift that people will do the gym at home and not just buy the thing and then make it gather dust or just not use it at all?
In my experience with the people that I work with, I did have noticed that people were more, or especially even now, even more working out at home. It's their place of safety, comfort. They don't have to worry about, anything. So people are definitely have built up their home gyms during that time. So they have pretty much a lot of equipment, in their living rooms or extra rooms. So I do find that people were really utilizing their gym equipment a lot more than previous times.
Richard, you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Mike mentioned that people do have a lot more gym equipment at home. I know a lot of my colleagues, even some of my staff, my trainers have taken some of the gym equipment and put it in their house that they use now if they can't get to the gym or they want to get a quick workout in. But the key is like I think a lot of this equipment is like how do you use it and how do you use it effectively and how do you use it without hurting yourself and get the efficiency there. So I think there's definitely scope for, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned in the slide, some of these AI fitnesses that are coming out, there's huge money that's being backed behind them. I think there's definitely opportunity for those AI forms to grow even more exponentially than they have already. So you still can't quite get the same connection as you can with the community or sort of like face-to-face one-on-one with the trainer, for example.
Great. Question for Tjert. So you touched upon the fact that the international market has effectively disappeared. But Thailand being a large nation, you can rely on, to a certain extent, on domestic tourism. Are you able to put a number on the level of occupancy and now with the domestic tourism versus before?
Well, if we look at the 3 different business units, then the golf is trying to get as many as possible golfers from Bangkok. So we had to close in April, could open in May, and slowly domestic traveling started again. So we are doing okay. There is a regional golf festival now, so we see a significant increase in the last few months. So we hope that we can let's say get enough golfers to the end of the year, and hopefully then foreign golfers will start again, because the golf market is heavily relying also on international golf tours with golf agents. If we look at the resort village, there we suddenly had had an unexpected increase for long stay rentals. As of late March, there were a lot of people who were stuck here, who could not back to their home country, or people wanted to escape Bangkok to live and even work more and more from a distance online. So our occupancy rate is relatively high for these smaller villas because we rent them out for at least for the minimum of 1 month, and many people extend and extend. So that is doing quite well. If you look at the villas that we sell, well, like I mentioned in my introduction, there is an increasing demand from people in Bangkok who simply want to have a place in Hua Hin so that they can escape the city. So yes, there is an increasing demand, but at the same time, we need foreigners coming back to Thailand. Not only us, because we are still lucky that we can cope with this situation and wait for foreigners to return. But you see so many businesses here in Hua Hin as well, but mainly in the places like Koh Samui and Phuket, that they simply had to close their business, which is really sad. So we need to help each other within Thailand, and that's also what we do here with local businesses. It's part of our privilege program to support the businesses within Hua Hin to help each other and to survive this difficult period.
Yes, I think most countries in Southeast Asia are putting increased pressure on governments to come up with travel bubbles or reciprocal agreements for travel within the region, because there are definitely countries such as Singapore who cannot rely on domestic tourism. So it remains to be seen for how long the situation can continue like this. And yeah, so you touched upon, well, we touched upon it earlier. So demand for villas to live there and work, which brings me to the subject of alternative revenue for gyms, for hotels, for all kinds of spaces. Do you see that? Well, I should maybe put it a bit differently. For you, Richard, for instance, is there any alternative revenue streams that you can put in place now that the economy is opening up a little bit during the pandemic, such as fitting out your gyms or yoga rooms as offices for people who want to escape working from home or things like that? Are there any specific actions that you thought about to increase the revenue stream in a creative way?
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I think I'll steal that one. Thank you very much. Yes, I think that's an awesome idea. I think definitely thinking creatively about how you can maximize our spaces here. For example, one of the things that we actually did when everything got locked down, we created an equipment rental protocol where clients could come in and rent equipment at a certain period of time. And each equipment had like a deposit and then a rental service. So like, for example, one of these hanging TRX machines, foam roller, something like a kettlebell, something easy they could use at home. I think we've got equipment rental that could be quite good. I think shifting it to online as well, and then also shifting it online that you can provide services like online training services or hybrid version training services when customers are also working by themselves. That's an option. And then also, I just mentioned on the chat room there is you can get affiliate marketing distribution through equipment sales providers, and also like at-home equipment sales providers, and also meal delivery providers. So it's not huge revenue, but it's small amounts that could be made through putting people in touch as a medium or as a moderator through medium network connection, network marketing.
Yeah, there has been in the press quite a lot of articles about hotels, especially fitting out rooms as places to work. So there's definitely some developments to come in this direction. We are almost up for time, but I wanted to ask each of you to give me your take on the one thing that will stick after this pandemic, the one change that you see will be a sustainable one, and that will remain after this crisis is over. So maybe Dustin, you want to start with your take?
Yeah, I guess for my take, the one thing that would stick would be the concept of the healthy home and the healthy building. Yeah, prior to COVID-19, it's always about energy efficiency. And the concept of health has always been, low in priority. But in the last 2, 3, 4 months, we've seen the concept of healthy buildings and healthy homes just hit the top. It's like that's already priority right now. And I think that would continue because it's all about health and well-being for people.
Yes, we only have one body, and I guess this crisis has made us realize that we better take care of it, right? Michael?
From my standpoint, I've definitely noticed people are starting to take care of themselves more because, you know, we're starting to see the correlation between, you know, COVID and people, you know, with diabetes or who are overweight. You know, we're starting to see all the studies come out about that. So people are more inclined to, you know, building on their immune system and just overall taking care of themselves daily to, you know, combat, you know, try to fight, you know, COVID and all the myriad of other diseases and everything out there right now. So yeah, but definitely people are taking care of themselves a bit more.
Good. Chert?
Yes, well, I can only agree with my colleagues in this webinar, where I think the current situation is very challenging for people in general, not only, let's say, because they are afraid for their physical health, but also our mental health has been under a lot of pressure, very challenging, but also the social well-being. Many people have been isolated, locked up, and I think this make people realize in general how important, let's say, a holistic approach and overall well-being, again, physical, mental, and social, how important that is. And I think that will be a very important factor in the decisions they make in all different areas when it relates to food, the way they live, the way they have an active or a non-active life, social well-being. So we will see a lot of change, a lasting change, I believe.
Thank you. Richard?
Me, myself, yeah. I agree with so many, it's a great question and so many great answers as well. Health is definitely the new wealth. And we definitely, I agree, we have to 100% have to take care of our bodies. And also, I think it's given us a great perspective on everything that we, I think everything that we have being I think we have a greater underlying sense of gratitude for everything that we actually have, and everything that we can focus on that is going well for us. And I think if you're in a business sense, it's definitely given us opportunity to look at our companies, look at our organizations, look at our businesses, look at relationships we have, and then reflect on what we need to do to improve those and to get creative and that next step forward. Evolution.
Thank you all. It's good to see you mostly agree. For my take is that, yeah, it has been it's been a wake-up call. I mean, those things that we really took for granted, like just to go out and eat at a restaurant or meet our friends, it's not, it was taken for granted. So this has been a great wake-up call for everyone to look inside and enjoy the small things. Thank you all so much. And to the audience, thank you all for joining the live webinar today. Please feel free to send inquiries to email to the email address on the screen, and stay connected to the PropertyGuru Asia Real Estate Summit social media channels. A link with the recorded webinar and presentation slides will be uploaded on the official website asiarealestatesummit.com. The next annual PropertyGuru Asia Real Estate Summit will take place in Bangkok in Thailand on Thursday, 3rd of December this year. And the theme will be Spirit of Innovation, where we will talk about green technology, sustainability, and the new economy, with speakers from the Liter of Light Foundation, a board member of the Burj Khalifa Tower, and The Economist. Great line of speakers. So we look forward to hopefully seeing and meeting you there in person. On behalf of PropertyGuru, thank you for joining this webinar, and see you soon. And obviously, stay safe.